listening to Fox Sports Radio simulcast on FS1 and AW Network. It's John Thomas Live. Now here's John Thomas.
Welcome. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, April 27th. Darcy and I, we have our Dunkin' Donuts. We have our McDonald's. We are prepared for another Tuesday morning of John Thomas Live here. And we're going to review Action Wrestling. Last night, 8.8 million people watched CruiserClash and Monday Night Clash. And what a wild roller coaster ride that was. You guys talked to me on Twitter all night. I had to get sleep. I had to go to bed at midnight so that I could be here at 4:45 for our pre-production meeting so we could go live at 6 a.m., which it is 6:01 right now in the morning. Beautiful New York City in the Fox Sports studio, and we are live. And you guys talked to me all night. You guys would have talked to me the whole time because what a wild ride CruiserClash was. We start out with our new general manager, Jim Mudd, coming out, signing Flop to a new deal, giving him his $1 million raise. He puts Catapult, the God, for whatever reason, 2021 Hall of Fame class, Catapult, on the announcer's booth. She joins them. I mean, it's blowing my mind. In the first 10 or 15 minutes of this show, the landscape of CruiserClash changed, right? Because you know what I'm getting to. He claims that he had a huge signing, and he had a huge part in this, and he brings Masuda out for his match, which there was a host of characters, host of superstars, by the way, that we didn't even know who they were going to wrestle. We had no idea. We just knew that they were going to be in a match. He didn't want to prepare anybody, right? Because that's how Jim Mudd does things. So out comes his new signee. It's Addie frickin' A. Hashtag what the hell? I mean, Jim Mudd with the biggest signing to CruiserClash quite possibly ever. I mean, this goes back to when Teo Blaze showed up almost a year ago. Am I right? Addie A comes out and just manhandles Masuda, picks up the win, then doesn't shake Jim Mudd's hand and points to her waist as if she's here for one reason, folks, and it's the Cruiserweight Championship. I don't think she was looking at like a new Prada belt. I don't think she was looking to get Gucci. She wants one belt, and it's the Cruiserweight Championship. Oh my gosh. Hashtag what the hell. Yeah. Addie A on CruiserClash. So we have Torture coming up. He's going to be doing the call-in presented by Dunkin' Donuts. We're going to ask him about that. Because I'd like to know, Jim Mudd, there's no way Jim Mudd could have signed Addie A. Or am I insane? I'm crazy. I have to be crazy. Not only that, we saw an awesome debut with a new tag team that was also signed, but this time we know it was signed by AW's Talent Relations, J-Mac. They signed the Strong Style Express, this tag team that features Gracie Parker and, holy crap, I hope I am saying this right, Kazuhiro Katayama. And my goodness, what a tag team they are. They put down the Shore brothers in what seemed like a one-sided just absolutely one-sided mess. Strong style indeed. Catapult with the line of the night, I thought, because my goodness, did they put down the Shore brothers very easily. That is a new tag team that I'm looking forward to watching every week. I have to say that Catapult, while she gets under my skin a lot, had a pretty good time at the announcer's table. She sounded fresh. She made the show sound a lot better. I have questions now going into next week. We won't get to that just yet. Again, Strong Style Express and Addie A. Welcome to CruiserClash. My goodness, if this is the future of CruiserClash, we are in great hands on CBS, right? I have to talk about this match. We know that Andre Jensen and Tio Blaze both won their triple threat matches, which, surprise, surprise, right? I mean, they run the table on CruiserClash for a reason. But I have to talk about this match. Tsukiko and Soldado went toe-to-toe. Great, fantastic match. I want to say they've wrestled a handful of times this year already. So it was going great. But once again, Soldado Fortuna looks to me, this is my opinion, has the match won. And somehow the official messes it up. So Tsukiko hits a move, pins. He's got his foot on the ropes. Soldado has his foot on the ropes. The pin should be broken up. But once again, Richardson has to get on the apron, has to argue with the official because he counts the 3. He counted the 3. And if this is Jim Mudd's CruiserClash, no thanks. That's where I've been getting at. I think it was fresh. I thought we had a lot of cool ideas here on CruiserClash, but if this is Jim Mudd's way of running the show, no effing thanks. Fox Sports said I could say that. No effing thanks. This isn't fun. Soldado and Tsukiko both deserve a match where the officiating isn't the story coming out of it. Soldado should be competing for the Cruiserweight Championship. Instead, he has to fight Tsukiko. Now, I'm not discrediting her because she should also be in the main event. She should also have main event opportunities, but instead, she's forced to fight Soldado, which the graphic said, one of you is hot, the other has a hot manager. What is Jim Mudd doing? So that we see the official make the mistake, he argues with Victoria Richardson, and then we see a shot of Jim Mudd laughing in the back as if he's talking on the earpiece to the ref and just saying, who cares? Go forward. Who cares? And I care. Millions of you care. 8.8 million people care. We deserve a finish. And speaking of finishes, the Cruiserweight Championship was in a Copenhagen Championship match, which, by the way, we found out there was pools of disgusting tobacco next to the ring. Carly Nash, one of the top 4 AW superstars of all time, if you ask me personally, is going against Reagan Voorhees for her Cruiserweight Championship. The match is going well. Jim Mudd is involved because, again, that's how Jim Mudd is operating CruiserClash, right? This is why I say no thank you. We need Donald Cerrone back. Darcy, are you okay over there? She just dropped a whole bunch of files. Are you all right over there? That's for the NFL draft. We won't get into that. Fox Sports is going to have me on for the NFL draft later this week. So I cannot believe she just dropped all that. Jim Mudd is operating as the official. He doesn't need to be there. But of course, because the show has to be about him and Philidor Holdings. So they're going at it. Mudd is teasing submissions, teasing pinfalls here, not getting us an official call. Finally, Carly looks to be gaining momentum, I should say. Bumps into Jim Mudd. It causes her to stumble. That's when Reagan hits the hammerlock DDT. Puts Carly out. Mudd with a little bit of a fast count. Didn't like the count. And Reagan retains the Cruiserweight Championship in the main event of CruiserClash. Then that's where Jim Mudd showed his true colors. Because JJ Biggs has had enough. All night, now this is where we can get into Catapult and Biggs. So all night, Biggs is trying to do his job professionally. He is a WCF Hall of Famer. He is a former WCF champion. He has won accolades, belts, everywhere he has went. He was signed to Action Wrestling by Donald DeRudy, who they both had a WCF career together. He was signed by DeRudy over a year ago to host CruiserClash alongside the excitable UCI's Jimmy Garcia. And what happens all night is JJ Biggs, very professional, calling the action as he sees it, like he always does, has to deal with Catapult right next to him, to his left. Cannot stand her because all night she cuts the legs out from underneath her. She started the night calling him out, calling him basically a jobber, right? was a champion for a month, which he was. It's not something he's very happy about, but she had to dig into him all night, needle him all night. And he had enough. And J.J. Biggs is about honor. He is about pride. When Seth Lurch was running WCF into the ground, Biggs was very vocal about it. Not just behind the scenes, but on television as well. That's why he left the place. That's why a lot of us left the place, right? We wanted to stop watching it as fans. It was why it was garbage. So he had enough. He stands up, he grabs the microphone, gets into the ring, and he needs to tell Jim Mudd this to himself, or to his face, excuse me. He's had enough, and Mudd kicks him in the groin. Just kicks him in the... I don't know how else to say this, but he kicks him in the dick, folks. He throws Jim Mudd out of the ring into the pool of tobacco, which, thank God, Carly and Reagan never touched. And he fires J.J. Biggs. Jim Mudd fires J.J. Biggs from CruiserClash. Wow. My Twitter hotline went off. It wasn't even the start of Monday Night Clash, and my Twitter hotline went off. It was crazy, folks. J.J. Biggs is fired. They sent us a memo. Darcy, you read this, and it confirms it, right? Yeah. So Action Wrestling confirmed that J.J. Biggs was fired. Now, they're looking into it because J.J. Biggs is obviously going to make an appeal here where basically he feels like he was, not correctly fired, right? I don't know what the term is, but he feels that way. So he's definitely going to make an appeal about it. I haven't talked to anybody yet. We will talk to Torture about it. I haven't talked to J.J. Biggs nor his people yet. I have sent out some feelers, have sent out some text. I'd like to get to the bottom of this, but if he does appeal it, wow, Action Wrestling is going to be in crazy lawsuits. But as we know, as of right now, at 6:13 a.m. in the morning, April 27th, J.J. Biggs has been fired from CruiserClash. He's been released from Action Wrestling, and that makes it look like Jimmy Garcia and Hall of Famer 2021 class Catapult are going to be your hosts, your announcers for CruiserClash going forward. And I'm not happy about that. I'm just not happy about that. That's where I say the Jim Mudd era of CruiserClash is not as good as it looks like just on that surface level. Yeah, he gave Flop a $1 million deal, no thanks. He fired J.J. Biggs, no thanks. 2 matches, which featured Soldado Fortuna and Reagan and Carly Nash's Cruiserweight Championship match, both had officiating problems, one of which Jim Mudd was involved in directly. And I feel like if this is the Jim Mudd era of CruiserClash, no thanks. I'm out. I don't want any part of it. Let me know how you feel on the Twitter hotline. And give me those comments. Give me those hashtags. Use the hashtag JTL, John Thomas Live. We're on Fox Sports. We'll be right back. We're going to talk top 5 moments from last night's Monday Night Clash. We'll be right back. JJ Biggs, if you're out there, please hit me up. I want to get your side of the story. I want to know. But JJ Biggs, as far as we know, has been released. He's been fired from Action Wrestling. He's been fired from CruiserClash. Coming up, top 5 moments of Monday Night Clash. We'll be right back. John Thomas Live here on Fox Sports Radio.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?
Yeah, I'll have a pre-meeting pump-up, a Monday fixer, and a Screaming Boss recovery.
So that's 1 peppermint mocha, 1 McCafe frappe, and 1 fruit smoothie?
Yep.
Name your drink. McDonald's has it. We're your destination for those special flavors that help you get through your day. Get any small McCafe smoothie, frappe, shake, or espresso drink for only $2. Even the delicious new peppermint mocha. For a limited time, price and participation may vary.
5 moments from Monday Night Clash.
And welcome back to John Thomas Live. I'm John Thomas. We're live on Fox Sports Radio. And as you know, this segment, we talk about the top 5 moments from Monday Night Clash. And they're in no particular order. First thing first, we have to talk about Jeremiah Gail, who has had a ton of momentum since returning here in Action Wrestling. Picked up the television championship. He loses it last night to Claire Hawkins, who jumps up almost out of the weeds and now holds the television championship for a third time, a record-tying third time. As you know, OG Bishop, the only superstar in AW who has held that belt 3 times, who sadly passed away earlier this year. He's in the 2021 Hall of Fame class. By the way, Claire Hawkins now holds that belt, a record-tying 3 times. And Darcy, you can look this up. She has held the television championship in every year now, right? For the last 3 years. She's held it in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Am I right? Yeah, look that up real quick for me. Claire Hawkins pins Jeremiah Gale, wins the television championship. I was right. Yep. She's held it in every year for the last 3 years. What a superstar who has gained momentum now with just 3 weeks left before Havoc. She's going to try to hold on to this television championship for as long as she can. Maybe she can now set a reign record for as many days. Right now she can hold it, try to set the record for as many days, try to make that record while she ties the record for winning it 3 times. But does she have the momentum going into Havoc right now or what? Talk about an underdog. Talk about a dark horse superstar that could jump up out of the weeds just like she did last night, wins the television championship. She could jump up out of the weeds again in Havoc, throw the final superstar over the top rope. She could win Havoc and be going to the main event of Evolution 4, the largest pay-per-view ever, from Detroit at the end of June, and face Ash Blake, the world heavyweight champion, in the biggest main event. I mean, are you kidding me? Claire Hawkins, 3-time television champion, defeats Jeremiah Gale. We're not done seeing Jeremiah Gale, by the way. Slight hiccup in his huge return. We're not done seeing him. He's going to come back stronger. I know it. Claire Hawkins, your current television champion. Hit me up on the hotline. Let me know how that makes you feel. I love it. She has always sort of satellited around this title belt. And does she put in work or what? Claire Hawkins, record-tying 3rd reign as television champion. That's number 1 on our top 5 list. How dope is that? And she's held it once in every year the last 3 years. Man, we have to talk about the obnoxious Johnny Bacchus here. He retained his pure championship with a huge coast-to-coast. I mean, going from one turnbuckle to the other. I want to say he knocked out Johnny dangerously. Then as Harlow was gaining momentum in that match, he catches her foot, her spin kick, drops her on her head, knocks her out, all within like 30 seconds to retain the pure championship. Now, I will say this. I believe he has some demons outside the ring. I believe he has some immaturity issues. But my goodness, what a pure champion. Now, when I think of pure champions, I think of Max Damon and Matthias Mansell. They were knocking guys and girls out constantly. But here comes Johnny, the obnoxious Bacchus, and he's knocked out everyone who stood in front of him. So when I think of pure champions, now I don't just think of Mansell and Damon anymore. I think of Johnny. He has tested himself. He's proved himself. And every time someone has stepped in with this issue, this challenge to throw in front of him, he's succeeded. And he's done it miles above everyone else. He has succeeded expectations week in and week out. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it. I wasn't at first, didn't care, thought he was too immature, thought he would fizzle out. He'd fade away into the background. He is not a background character. He is up front, he is in your face, and he's telling you that he has been tested. He belongs in that huge, exploding, barbed wire death match to unify the championship belts between the hardcore and pure titles. He says he belongs there, and I believe it. Now, later on in the night, he actually has, he actually has the audacity, the cojones. He steps into the office of Alexander Pasternak to tell him this. Because, and I agree, he has not made as much money. His fight purses have not been as on a competitive pay scale as to some of his peers, some of the other roster members. And I'm with him. Look, if there's a petition to get him paid more, I'd sign it. That's what I'm telling you. I'm a fan of the obnoxious Johnny Bacchus. He's been tested as a pure champion. Alexander Pasternak drops the bombshell. He's going to face off against Joey Bunga next week, this certified stud from New Jersey or New York, whatever. They're going to compete. They're going to fight. They're going to duke it out. And whoever wins that match next week on Monday Night Clash for the Pure Championship, they will then move into the Evolution exploding barbed wire unification match, this death match, if you will. So Johnny Bacchus, he believes that he's been tested. Pasternak finally agrees to it. That was a huge moment last night on Monday Night Clash, finally getting some of the respect that I believe he deserves. Now, he's got to go through Joey Bunga, who looks to be just one sloppy dog. Am I right? Like, just, I don't know if this Bunga character, I don't know where he came from or what training he has in professional wrestling, but my goodness, does he look sloppy in the ring. But a knockout is a knockout, and so Johnny's got to watch his back there. But one match to determine who will go into that unification match, which brings me up to another moment last night, which was the Hardcore Championship match. We got a bloody, violent, death-defying execution cage match last night in the main event of Monday Night Clash. It lived up to the hype. John Black faced off against CJ Phoenix in the final test match here before this unification title match. And was it not one of the greatest main events we've seen in Monday Night Clash history? Folks, it was intense. It was insane. It was everything we wanted in an execution cage match outside of the execution pay-per-view. We do not get these matches except for on pay-per-view on the AW network in September. And we got it last night in April of the main event of Monday Night Clash. They put on a show. I'm talking light tubes, steel chairs. They were suplexing each other off the top rope 1 minute into the match. They threw it down. They put their lives, their careers, everything they had on the line for the Hardcore Championship. Nothing looked sweeter than when CJ Phoenix hit that Talon kick twice to pick up the win over John Black, who, by the way, what a superstar John Black is, right? He returned at Revolution in January of this year, just 3.5 months ago, and he's been on fire ever since. John Black looks great in an AW ring. I am glad he has returned. CJ Phoenix retains the Hardcore Championship, locks himself in to this exploding barbed wire death match. My goodness. Hashtag what the hell. Are we ready for that? CJ Phoenix goes through the execution cage. Looks like a boss, right? He was pouring blood. Just absolute violent. A disaster. He looked like he survived destruction. And now, in 2 months' time, at Evolution in Detroit, he will be in an exploding barbed wire deathmatch to unify his Hardcore Championship with whoever wins the Johnny Bacchus Joey Bunga Pure Championship match next week on Monday Night Clash. They'll be unifying the belts in a super hardcore championship way in an exploding barbed wire death match. We don't even know the rules, the details, the information of this match. We just know there's barbed wire surrounding the ring, and it's a death match. And someone is going to look boss coming out of that match, and someone is going to look like a disaster. Someone is going to look like an ugly, bloody pulp. I can tell you that. CJ Phoenix with a huge main event win. Talk about, let's chat up the following here for a second. They come in, they've got tag team gold. They made Chase Jackson look like an actual superstar. I was against Chase Jackson because I'll say it straight. I called him a jobber for the first 3 years of his career. He's a jobber. But the following have made Chase Jackson look good. The following have the Tag Team Championship gold. They had Wesley in the finals of Wrestler of the Year. He was a former United States champion. They've got Dandy looking great in main events. They got Kyle Kemp always looking superb. And now they've got CJ Phoenix holding the Hardcore Championship. And yet, Dandy and Kemp have some sort of issue that they need resolved. And they should fix it fast. They should fix it fast because the following look just as strong as any other team or any other stable out there. And you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. They hold the world championship, don't care. The following look great. CJ Phoenix is going to be unifying his Hardcore Championship at Evolution against the winner of Johnny Bacchus and Joey Bunga next week when they compete for the Pure Championship. That's on Monday Night Clash next week. Speaking of championships, boy, do we have some weird little heat race going on for that United States Championship. So this all started about a couple months ago when Sam Kidsgrove said that Durr Metzger wasn't defending his United States Championship at Time Bomb. Right, Darcy? It was Time Bomb? Yeah, because you're right. Durr Metzger was in the Elimination Chamber. So Sam Kidsgrove comes out, talks about how that United States Championship belt, which, by the way, Kidsgrove has won many times before, and a fantastic, great, honorable United States champion, says it's a workhorse title. You have to show up week in, week out. Once a month, you need to be defending that belt, if not more, to show that you belong, to prove yourself to the action wrestling audience, the action wrestling galaxy. And Durr Metzger has not been defending that belt, if at all. I believe he's defended it against Regan Voorhees 2 months ago. He didn't defend it at Time Bomb, hasn't defended it since. And Sam Kidsgrove has then put his Golden Globe Awards on the line against an array of opponents, including Harvey Marks and Max Damon, both who have taken a shot at Sam Kidsgrove, fallen just a bit short. So now we have this Harvey Marks, Max Damon, Sam Kidsgrove match on Monday Night Clash. They're going at it, and I believe they all three have a point here to discuss why Durr Metzger is not defending his United States Championship. And then on the flip side, I believe they have a point that they may be number one contenders for this United States Championship belt that Durr Metzger is just holding on to. And so what does Metzger do to retaliate? We're having a great triple threat match between Marks, Damon, and Kidsgrove. And Durr Metzger has his, Devil's Gate stable. Just attack him. Openly attack him. Throws out the match. Durr Metzger puts down Max Damon, slams down Marks, and then hits that finisher. Drives Sam Kidsgrove's head into the canvas to end that match. And are you kidding me? Durr Metzger stands tall with his foot on the chest of Sam Kidsgrove to send a message. Right? That's what he was doing. He held up that United States Championship and he sent a message. You three are not in my class. Do not care about you three. That's what he said. And I'm telling you right now, they all three now have a point. They deserve a number one contender match. If not, they deserve to be number one contender against Durr Metzger and that United States Championship. Alexander Pasternak better figure this one out. Because Harvey Marks, Max Damon, and Sam Kidsgrove have proven time and time again they belong in the running, or at least in the discussion of this United States Championship. And are we going to get it? No. Because Havoc only has a one match a year. It's so rare that you'd get more than one match, which is the Havoc Rumble match. So now they have to wait. Well, I hope they don't have to wait. I hope one of those three. Sam Kidsgrove deserves it. He's a workhorse, a proud former United States champion. Harvey Marks is this newcomer superstar who has just been on a tear. He's the winner of the first ever boxing match a couple months ago in Vegas for Action Wrestling. He's proven time and time again that he's hung in there with Sam Kidsgrove. He's hung in there with Max Damon. And then Max Damon, who, by the way, has had matches won in his hands, and AW officiating has cost him the match. So he deserves to be there. Don't forget that detail, folks. Don't forget that Max Damon has had matches won, and AW officiating has cost him the match. Don't forget that. So yeah, I believe there's a case for each one of them. A case or two may be stronger than the other, but there's a case for them to compete against Der Metzger and that United States Championship belt. They need to figure that one out. They need to figure that one out. Excuse me. Now, our other moment here, we had a huge stable war match, right? We had what is left of the Lost Breed, which includes Adrian of the MS-13 gang. We had Lost Breed's Downfall and James Nightingale go in a 3-on-3 match against World Heavyweight Champion Ash Blake, the all-in holder Carter Shaw, and Lissy Hope, the sellout. Right? They went in a huge stable war match, and it was Philidor Holdings who came out on top. I'll tell you something. Downfall has the potential to be one of the biggest superstars in AW history. Is he on the backside of his career? Possibly. Is he coming up there in age? Quite possibly. These I won't disagree with. But I believe if he can continue to put things together in consecutive weeks, we could be looking at the era of Downfall very soon. Havoc is coming up. We've got 3 Monday night clashes left before Havoc Rumble. And I believe Downfall is a very wild card, a very dark horse in that match. James Nightingale, as we know, king of the last man standing matches. I said it last week and I'll continue to say it. James Nightingale is one violent son of a bee, if you know what I mean. But they came up short against Ash Blake, the world heavyweight champion, who has not been pinned, who has not been submitted, has lost 1 match, and it was in a cage match to Downfall, by the way. Carter Shaw, who has done nothing but defeat former world champions week in and week out. He's got wins over Ryan Lockhart. He's got wins over Dandy DeVito. He's got wins over Frank, right? FPV. He's got Odin Balfour in a co-main event next week on Monday Night Clash. Carter Shaw is putting the string of former world champions to bed. I'm telling you, he is putting them to bed. He is standing them up, and he's knocking them down. And then we've got Lizzie Hope, who has been on her return, her redemption arc, if you will. She's a sellout. That's 100% a sellout. That's all she is. She turned her back on her fans to sell out. That's what Lizzie Hope is. That's what Lizzie Hope is to me. Darcy disagrees. Darcy is a huge hoper, if you will. I'm not. Am not. Jumped off that train the second Philidor Holdings just came out of her breath. Are you kidding me? What a sellout. What a joke. She tags herself into the match. And I know she didn't tag herself in, folks, but I'm saying it. She tagged herself in because she's a joke. Hits the crown of thorns. Takes the win. And she had to do it over Adrian. Couldn't do it over Downfall. Couldn't do it over Nightingale. Had to do it on that joke Adrian of MS-13. Are you kidding me? What a sellout. What a sellout joke. Those 3 are looking great. They're in a tag match now. So again, Carter Shaw, as you heard me, is facing off against Odin Balfour next week in this former world champions revenge tour that Carter Shaw's got going on. But we're going to see Ash and Lizzie in tag action against Caps Lock. And that, man, just what a joke. Lizzie Hope, you turn your back on your fans. Are you kidding me? Sellout. I hope your redemption arc is going great. I hope you've been redeemed. Because I don't see it, and I don't buy it, and I don't believe it. You're a joke. I'd say that to her face, folks. I mean, I'm more than welcome. She can come on the show anytime she wants. But will she? No. Because she's going to do whatever Philidor Holdings wants her to do. Because she is a billion-dollar joke. Anyways, those are your top 5 moments of Monday Night Clash. We have a huge Monday Night Clash next week. I'll try to talk about that. You'll see that on Twitter. You'll see that later on in the show. In just a couple of minutes, Darcy is ringing up torture right now. We are going to go into our Dunkin' Donuts call-in here pretty soon. We'll be right back. It's John Thomas Live. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio.
Introducing Dunkin' Donuts all-new freshly baked muffins. They're incredibly delicious and bigger than ever before. You'll love them for a long, long time. Of course, nothing lasts forever. Bigger muffins, bigger taste, new from Dunkin' Donuts. Stop in today and try Dunkin' Donuts' new bigger muffins with a cup of delicious coffee.
Darcy, I hear the phone. Someone's calling.
Welcome back to John Thomas Live. We're live on Fox Sports Radio. It's a beautiful April 27th, Tuesday morning. Darcy, you have him on? Perfect. He's online. It's time for your Dunkin' Donuts call-in. Torture, you're appearing on CruiserClash for the first time ever Is this to praise Jim Mudd and his duties as general manager? Or is this more to fix some of the issues that CruiserClash has ran into? Basically, what I'm asking is, why are you showing up on CruiserClash for the first time ever?
Well, as you know, J-Mac, he's our head of talent relations. He's informed me that there is a couple issues with the CruiserClash roster that I would like to fix personally. I'm not sure I was a huge fan of CruiserClash last night, and I believe that there are some holes that I could definitely try to fix. I do know that the Cruiserweight Tag Team division is a little bummed out. I know that Pineapple Promenade are in a non-title match this week, as what Jim Mudd was telling me. But I do know that the two gents, who both won their singles matches, why are they in singles matches? They're a tag team. I do know that we just signed this new tag team, Strong Style Express. So I just want to fix a couple of things. I'd like to talk to Jim Mudd in person. I've been trying to get a hold of him through teleconferencing, and we just haven't had the best of luck on that front. But I feel like it might be time for me to appear on CruiserClash and just hear out some of these, not sort of complaints, I guess, but just to hear out some of these issues from some of the superstars in their face. I do know that Soldado Fortuna is also... I've been hearing from Victoria Richardson, his manager, and there's just a lot of issues that I need to fix. Would I praise Jim Mudd? I'm not sure I would go that far, but I do want to spend some FaceTime with him and some of the roster on CruiserClash, yes.
Can you tell me about JJ Biggs? He was fired at the end of CruiserClash last night. Action Wrestling sent out a memo saying that he was officially released of his duties thanks to Jim Mudd. Again, Jim Mudd, general manager of CruiserClash, last night fired JJ Biggs, and Catapult is now in his spot as a lead announcer or as a host on CruiserClash. Can you give me more information? Can you give me more details on the firing of JJ Biggs?
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, because Jim Mudd is general manager, he does have that right, the lawful right to release and fire any superstar that's within his division or his show from their contract. And that's unfortunately what he did at the end of last night. We are talking with JJ Biggs' people. I would like JJ Biggs to come back. I will have a meeting with him tonight. I believe I may be flying to his home tomorrow morning, and I would like to talk to him in person. But yeah, as of right now, JJ Biggs has been released. He's been fired from Action Wrestling, but I would like to rectify that. I would like to fix that. I'm hoping JJ Biggs and us, as part of Action Wrestling, could come up with a new deal and try to bring him back. But again, that's why I'm showing up on CruiserClash. I believe it just makes more sense if I show up in person, if I show up to CruiserClash in person. It just makes more sense.
Well, and that just brings me up to my third and final question. I don't want to spend the entire time talking about CruiserClash, but I do have to ask you, have you talked to Donald Cerruti? And is Donald Cerruti still the general manager of CruiserClash, or is the show just now solely ran and managed by Jim Mudd?
I have a team looking at it right now. We've been spending a couple weeks looking into it. We have to make sure that all of our ducks are in a row. But as far as I'm willing to tell you right now, Donald Cerruti is still a general manager of CruiserClash. He's just not the general manager of CruiserClash. But again, I have the best team in the business. They're looking into it. We want to get our ducks in a row. That's why I'm showing up on CruiserClash Monday night next week. I'm going to get FaceTime with some of the roster, FaceTime with Jim Mudd, and I'm going to try to figure this out.
And I'll let you go with your final question here, Torture. Thanks for being part of Dunkin' Donuts Call-In. We're live on Fox Sports. This is John Thomas. I'm talking with the co-president of Action Wrestling, Torture. Torture, J-Mac just got promoted to Talent Relations Manager less than 2 months ago. Already he's got big signings. I know that, and I believe he's credited with the Addy A signing, not Jim Mudd. And I do want to ask you, has he been doing great? And are you happy with the signings that have been coming through Action Wrestling, not just the last 2 months, but the last week or so? And is there more coming to Action Wrestling as we get closer now to the Havoc Rumble, as we get closer to the biggest pay-per-view of the year, Evolution in June?
I got this question. I'll touch on this because I got this question a lot in the last, 12, 15 hours. Addy A was restructured a new deal thanks to J-Mac, not Jim Mudd. It was J-Mac who then suggested that she go to CruiserClash, and that's where she wants to be. She's very successful. She's one of the best, bright crass and very obnoxious superstars we have in action wrestling, but she wants to be set up for success, and J-Mac feels that's where she is on CruiserClash, is to be set up for success. I think she's going to be very successful there. But again, to answer your question, I can't confirm you. Yeah, that's a J-Mac signing. Restructured her deal and got her into CruiserClash, where she's just tons of fun. She's going to be great on CruiserClash. And I can tell you that I'm very happy to see all these new roster members. There's a couple faces, a couple names that I'm hoping we signed very soon. Can't give it to you too much. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what J-Mac is doing. That's why we talked with him. We talked to him for a couple of weeks. He wasn't very sure. You know, J-Mac is the type of guy who's very nervous to be around. He gets uncomfortable, sometimes very awkward. But man, is he great at talent relations. He knows what the company needs, what the company wants, and he knows where superstars can succeed. And that's Action Wrestling. We're the #1 wrestling company in the world. We almost have 9 million viewers every week. We get tons of buys with the AW network. We're a global brand. We're a global company, and J-Mac is one of the pieces of that. But anyways, I have to go. We have a ton of details that we're trying to work out for shows in July and August. So thanks for having me on, and I'll see you next week.
Oh, well, thank you, Torture. He's already hung up. As you can tell, very busy man. He only gets to spend about, 5 or 6 minutes with us every Tuesday morning, and we try to get as much information as we can. Thanks for joining us on the Dunkin' Donuts call-in. And so that'll do it for John Thomas Live here on Fox Sports as we get closer to the end of this beautiful Tuesday morning. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Action Wrestling 1, no G. You can find me on YouTube. It's John Thomas Live. We are simulcast every morning on Fox Sports Television and Fox Sports Radio. It's John Thomas Live every morning, 5 days a week, except on Tuesday mornings. We cover nothing but action wrestling. Over 8.8 million people last night witnessed CruiserClash and Monday Night Clash. 2 huge shows. We've got 3 episodes left before the Havoc Rumble. Cannot wait. In the next coming weeks, I do want to tell you that, yes, you will get the McDonald's predictions of the Havoc Rumble. You will get more content from us as we ramp up our John Thomas Live studio. Getting ready for that biggest pay-per-view of the year. It's Evolution in June. Havoc Rumble, Evolution, those are coming up in May and June. We have 3 weeks left before we get there. This was John Thomas Live. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio, Fox Sports on TV. I'm John Thomas, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. If you want more action wrestling content, we'll see you next Tuesday morning. I'm John Thomas Live for Darcy. We'll say see you later, and we'll catch you tomorrow.